My grandma always used to tell me that nothing good happens between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. She would say, those are the devil hours. Do not go out during that time. And, I always tell people, if you don't believe any of this stuff, right, go out after midnight into the woods alone and then tell me what you think. Now, many years ago when I was younger, I had just gotten out of the military and I was kind of adjusting to this regular civilian life. Now, one of the things that helped me is I got into doing outdoor survival. Now, I used to do these 4 to 5 mile backpacking hikes where I would go out sometimes 12:30, 1 o'clock at night and hike in the woods. This particular area that I would hike was along the river. It was like this hill and it was just this heavily wooded area. Now, at the time, right, this area was known to be home to the Peoria Indians. And this is where they hunted. This is where they lived. There's even believed to be this huge burial ground on this area that was never found. So this particular night, I decided to hike this trail called the Pimatui. Now the Pimatui was an old Native American trail they used to use to get down this hill to the river. So what I would do is I would hike this trail and I would get to this specific spot where there was a stream that cut through the trail. I would then turn right and I would follow this stream through a ravine down to the river. So as I'm hiking the Pimatui Trail, I come to the stream, I turn right, and I start following along down this ravine. I start hearing like music, and it sounded like someone was singing, but it wasn't like a person, it was like one of those old music boxes. And as I kept on walking further and further, like it got a little louder, and then a little louder. And that's when I get to the specific spot of the stream where it kind of makes a curve. And there's this sharp ravine with two steep sides on both sides. And I remember hearing this music like coming from the side of this cliff. And I'm like, what is making that music? Like, where is that coming from? And that's when I see like this opening on the side of the ravine. And, it was probably about this wide. You could, barely crawl through it. And it was some kind of cave or something. So I hiked up to the top of this hill and I started shining my light into this cave. As I look in there, I see the movement of something very large. And I don't exactly know what it was. I can't explain to you what it looked like, but it caused me to like jump back. And at the time I'm thinking, okay, if this is some kind of wild animal, I'm blocking its only exit. So I started making my way back up the ravine and heading away from there. And as I'm walking, I noticed like all this movement up ahead in the woods. And I see several deer just booking it through the woods like something had just scared it. And I could hear from behind me some movement coming up through the woods. And there were like branches breaking and, you could hear the crunch of something hitting the leaves. I go a little faster now because I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, what is following me? As I'm, continuing up the ravine, it starts getting closer and closer. And it got to the point where I knew that it was very, very close. So I pull my camera out and I take a picture with the flash on. And when that flash hit, I could see two glowing eyes staring at me. So I threw my bag down and I just take off running as fast as I can. I get to the trail, I get out of there. And whatever this was, it broke off and didn't follow me. Later that night, I'm looking at this picture and you could clearly see the two eyes. And I'm like, whoa, something was following me, whatever was in that cave. The next day, I hiked back out to this area because I wanted to find this cave again, except I could not find it anywhere. And I went all the way along that ravine down to the river. There was no cave. And I still to this day have no idea what happened that night or what was following me.